Dr. Owusu Ochoa is Dr. O for the 804 as the premier knee and hip shoulder sports surgeon in Virginia. I would like to remind you that health equals power. Sports build and uplift communities, nothing else can. The mission of sports medicine is to keep athletes of all ages and levels at the top of their game. Dr. O is located at Ortho, Virginia, Schrader Road office location. Appointments can be scheduled online at orthovirginia.com or by calling 804-939-6688. You can follow Dr. O on Instagram at Dr. O_ for the 804 and uplifting educational content about sports health.
Hi everyone, I'm Coach Rick Stockel. I am co-owner of Newman & Dunn Real Estate here in Central Virginia, as well as I am a high school boys basketball coach at Monacan High School. I've sold over 1,300 homes here in Central Virginia, and I would love to work with you and your family in your home buying needs. I am a proud primary sponsor of Ballin in Virginia, and I hope you enjoy this show.
Welcome to another episode of BallinVA. We are amped up on this one right here. We had some nice, crazy talks, and we'll get into that. Today, my guests are the Manchester High School football coaches here, man. What's up, fellas?
How you doing?
Hey, man, good. I appreciate y'all coming in, man. Look, we've been trying to get this podcast going, man. And Coach Harold's always, man, every time I hit him up or I'm at a basketball game, he always show love, man. And, you know, from him being a 7'5" guy, you know what I'm saying? He always show love, and I appreciate it. But I'm going to let Coach Harold introduce himself, and I'm going to let him introduce who we brought with him today.
All right, so again, I'm Coach Harold, head coach of Manchester High School. This is my second year. I've been there since 2013. Again, this is Coach Connor. Kevin Connor is my DC. He runs the defense. Get a good forefront up there. This is Coach Chap, Sidney Chapel. He's a legend.
Everybody know him.
Chap is well known in the city. He's also works on special teams. He's a special teams coordinator, and then also have Caballo Claiborne known as Coach KO.
Coach KO, we go on that Coach KO in a minute.
Coach KO, line coach, man, great guy, great dude. Also, alum of Manchester. So him and Coach Connor, big alums here at Manchester. So everybody, you know, well known throughout the community.
Hey, Coach KO, he all right, though. We're going to make sure that his mom and wife, they good people. And we look, we ain't going to get too hard on him today. But I also got to let y'all know, here's my special guest. He's going to be taking over for this thing one day before I do it. He ain't special no more. But Mr. Chase Myers, I call him the next Matt Hatfield. And that's, if I give a compliment like that, when I give one KO, you know, to let you know that it's legit. But let me let y'all know, before we start, I got to get on Coach KO today. Yeah, I told you I'm going to do this. So don't try me, right? See, I got to have one of these moments. I'm starting hot, right? And see, it's supposed to be about Manchester, but it got to tick me off. All right, 2024-2025 season, Manchester, man.
Up and down, definitely.
See, he knows.
Though, I will say, defensive frontly.
Look, I'm going to sit back on
their defensive front. The chocolate kid, out of this world talented.
Yeah, he's got nothing but upside. I mean, he's a young kid. I mean, he's still got 2 more years. So it's going to be a lot better as he progresses.
Absolutely. And then I believe Ballard's going to Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And then I'm sure Antonio's committing it sometime soon. And
yeah, he's narrowed it down to a few schools. He's been kind of doing his visits now.
Nice.
Rotating around the, East Coast here.
Okay.
I would ask, for me personally, how was the transition going from Coach Hall to you? How was it received by the community, coaches, players, and everything like that? How was that for you?
It wasn't too rough, because again, like I said, I've been there since 13, so a lot of people actually knew me. Mm-hmm. Again, then like I said, you know, I had a great rapport with the school, the kids anyway before I even, you know, was named the head coach. So it wasn't difficult transition of trying to like win the team or win the community or win like the coaches, because again, like easy. I would say it was not easy. Like honestly, we fix up fast. Yeah, they used to joke me that all the time, like because my number is 757. So you know, you text me. I never changed my number since I got my number when I was in high school. I've had the same phone number, and I remember when we was 2018. Chap was like, "All right, man, we want a state now. We gotta got to change his phone number.
I
know. We might be brothers from another mother. You don't know. Might be stuff.
You gotta change that number, man. What's up with that, man?
Nah, man, I like to be able to be found, man. So again, like I said, I've always had that number, so I don't really like trying to go around and change it.
But to kind of add to that a little bit, I mean, he earned all that, though. To make that easy transition was on him. And coming in just from day one and just, whatever we asked him to do, he did it and was there. I mean, he earned all of that. So it wasn't just happened to be. Because you think about it, that's tough. It's a tough man to follow. 25 years in one place.
Yeah.
A lot of wins.
A lot of history.
Lot of history.
A lot of history.
Those are tough shoes to fill. And it came all to light last year, but he'd been doing that since the day he got there. So,
Sure.
and continue to do a great job with it.
They always say that it's hard to always come behind a legend. You got people are afraid to come behind the legend. That it's like, okay, man, I'll be the coach that come behind the coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But
If you think about it, Blunt's had that following behind Coach D, and then him now with Tom, and then whoever. Assuming he doesn't die on the sidelines, I hope Coach Mills doesn't see this, but assuming Coach Mills doesn't die on the sidelines, but whoever follows him, that's going to be tough transition. And of course, whoever follows Lauren Johnson up at Springs. So it's never easy following a legend.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can give Coach Hall some credit too, because he kind of had a feeling that his time was coming, and he pulled me aside probably a couple of years before he made his decision that he was he wanted to kind of get me into that transition of being able to take over the team and being okay and having it in a good situation to where it wasn't hard for me to get to the point to where, I am in charge and running things. So I do appreciate him for doing that for me. And again, kind of like giving me and showing me the ropes of things and what to do and what not to do throughout the kind of like the transition. Now, I didn't know he was retiring. Everybody found out at the same time. So,
did it really retire?
When he announced the retirement, I did not know. Like, so I was surprised. He was like,
not retirement, remember, not retirement. He never said that. Never said that word.
Yeah. So when we knew when he said that, I said, he going somewhere. It kind of, hey, man, I mean, he earned the right to do that, he paid his dues and, got a lot of wins, state championship, you know what I'm saying? So, he was the one coach that beat the hell out of Daryl Overton,
That team beat the hell out of everybody.
I'm about to say, Daryl remembers that. So
no. Yeah, I got to do that, And Daryl talked about that sitting right here. He said that taught him really, that really had to get him to refocus and do what they doing now. Yeah. When he did at Freedom and then the Hayfield, of course, and now the St. James. So he said that ass whooping y'all gave him kind of, had him kind of retooled.
Now, they had a hot team that year.
Hot team.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it wasn't like we went into that game knowing we was going to win the game.
Right.
But, we had to prepare just like everything else. Mm-hmm. And I think it became a turning point. We had made a big play, and it just kind of like snowballed after that. Mm-hmm. Like they just couldn't recover because they actually went up on us first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I remember losing my mind. I was in DC at that time. Two turnovers on special team.
Well, we dropped the kickoff and a punt.
Yeah,
we dropped the kickoff and a punt.
And both of those guys were DBs. So I lost it on them two dudes. And after that they snapped into the game. They ended up scoring. And after that it was like, I guess it kind of clicked for everybody. Look, this is what we got to do. We here. We can't lose this game. Like, we in this game. We got this game. We got to proceed to do what we've been doing. And it kind of, those guys after that, like I said, we made, it wasn't KJ's play. I'm trying to think.
Which one?
The first touchdown.
The first one
Did we score?
that we scored?
Yeah, that was the, it was like the zone option.
It was tied, wasn't it?
No. It was like the little zone read with the throw out the back.
They throw out the back, yeah.
And then he broke one tackle.
And then the turnover, then the turnover, then the throw with KJ. That was really the turning point right there.
That dude threw a touchdown pass, ran a touchdown, and caught one. In the state championship game.
Yep.
Wow.
KJ Benil.
Yeah.
That's very rare.
So, like I said, that was kind of the turning point because again, it was a big turnover for us, and then we scored the very next play, and it just went from there.
Yeah.
Them guys some great football, man. So, to do that to those guys like that, man, that says a lot about your program and what you guys, accomplished, man. So kudos to that. Anytime the 804 can get nacho of anybody throughout the state, even though we all won as a state for VA all day. But, sometimes, man, especially from guys that live that good of woods, they kind of like to stay separate. And sometimes we just got to show them who we are.
But that was cool too, because Highland Springs won it right before.
Yeah.
So that same field, they brought it home, and then we brought it home right behind them. So that was a pretty cool day.
It would have been cool, man, because I think, Julian Brown, shout out to Julian Brown, Nova Legends, he always talk about how the new system that we got now where, okay, we got all these different class champions. It would have been cool for y'all to play Highland Springs that 2018.
That year, yes.
Yeah, because both y'all teams was loaded.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To be able to see who would have been able to come over top. I mean, we had Maury, you had Mike Prill, the DC over there, talk about how Highland Springs had one set of offensive linemen. They came out there with another set. He was like, man, what in the world? So,
They were loaded.
Yeah. So
we're loaded. Can I touch on something about the transition though? The one thing that was super impressive to me about the transition was that Coach Harrell went out there and he recruited guys who were in all generations of Tom Hall's legacy there in Manchester. So you got to look at it. Me and Bub, I was actually on the first team that Coach Hall coached back in 1999.
Okay.
And so I played offensive line for him.
Okay.
And actually Bub was my fullback a year after that. And so like you have that, and then you have the younger guys.
Yeah, we had 13 dudes on the staff.
Yeah, and so we all so you have all from the state championship all the way up to the very beginning, all the way up. We had those guys, and so that Lancer way that was kind of instilled to us always at Manchester was already there, and he embraced that because some guys when they come in and they get a new job, they want to bring new guys. They want to bring guys who have their philosophies and different things in. You know what I mean? And our philosophies do align in a lot of different ways. But I think that was a blessing and something that helped with that as well. So I always want to applaud him for that because he didn't have to do that. He could have went to the 757 and brought an offensive line guy up,
with a better area.
or did anything like that. So I think.
Again, to attest to that, one of the things that I learned when I was in 757, like, so I actually went back and coached at my old school that I played at Salem High School. And then Robert Jackson was the head coach there at that time. And I went and learned under him. And for me, coaching at the school, and I also taught there too, like going back to your roots, it's a different. So like, you want your school to be better. You want things to be good for like the generation you have. It's like you want to give back to those that are coming up behind you. So it's a different type of feel when you're at your home, right? Because you don't want your home to look bad. Like you want everything to be clean. You're gonna take pride in it. You're gonna, it's something because again, like the young generation, that's probably the one thing that it's not lacking, but it's just not the same. Where just taking that pride in your community, right? Like I said, all right, I'm here. This is my spot. I'm taking care of this. So then when you come back and this is still your area. I ran it. This is what I did here. I love it about Coach Connor. He'll let the kids know
Straight up.
every time. He let them know this is what I did right here. This is his stuff. You know what I mean?
This is what
Very impressive. I mean, but it's funny because again, like I said, I know the first meeting. I always joke about this too all the time. Coach Chap was literally the first coach that I talked to when I came up here. He was standing outside on the phone and he was having a meeting. And we was sitting there, and I'm like, say, y'all having the coaching meetings? Oh yeah, hey, how you doing? He's Coach Chap, and I'm messing with him. I ain't gonna tell him about what I called him, but he's sitting there. But he was, just a genuine dude. So I mean, I felt warm and welcome with him. And then we got to that first meeting, and it's funny if you ever been to a meeting with coaches. It's probably you like, how do y'all coach together? Like, are y'all friends? Are you not friends? Like, how y'all even on the same staff?
Oh yeah.
So I'm just sitting there, just observing. I'm laughing, and then like this is a young Coach Connor too. And of course he's very vocal. So I was like, man, this dude's very passionate. I'm just sitting there, just taking notes. Like, all right. Over some cleats and socks. I was like, oh yeah.
Over spat.
Yeah. I was like, this is gonna be it'll be an interesting transition here. So, but no, I enjoyed it, and like I said, that first couple of years, I was kind of like, I just kind of sat back, and then the DC at the time, Greg Woodle, kind of like was, he observed me coaching. He was like, you know a little bit. I was like, I actually do, because he didn't know who I was. I literally got hired on the street. I got a job teaching. I didn't plan on coaching when I moved up here. The principal saw my resume that I coached in 757, and then he was like, well, I think the head coach might want you to coach. I said, all right, cool. So he gave me the number. We actually met in Virginia Beach. His daughter used to play softball.
Okay.
And she had a softball tournament 5 minutes from my house from when I was living
that
down
worked
there.
out.
So yeah, we met each other and talked. So I had talked to Coach Hall. He told me about the meeting, and like I said, and I came up, and like I said, I was just a new guy in the room, so there wasn't much to say. And then, like I said, those couple of years, and I was kind of just, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, so I just kind of just made my own way. But again, like I said, the DC at that time kind of observed what I was doing. It's like, we kind of later on he gave me more responsibilities as we went on. And then, like I said, I know when he actually did retire. He stopped coaching, but he's doing something else in the school. But I became the DC after that, and then I said that's how we kind of move into that transition. And I said here we are now.
Man, it's a beautiful thing because you actually going to lead me right to my next segue. I was going to say, Coach Connor, go right into it, man, because, tell us about yourself and where you started at, man, and give us your background, bro. We need to hear it.
Well, I started at Manchester High School, 1999, 2000?
No, you'd have been
99 and 2000.
yeah.
But no, it was somewhere around there because I graduated in 04. But we, like Coach KO said, came in probably about the second or third year that Tom was there. I remember, it's funny because I remember Tom, I played a rec ball at a rec association in Chesterfield called Stockel. You familiar with?
Everybody know about you.
All right, there we go. You know what I mean? It was one of those rec programs where, it was a lot of dogs around. I'm gonna say that.
Shout out to Chap.
We had a different mentality. So obviously new head coach coming into the area. He trying to figure out, where to go and get some of his pieces and who's feeding into his school and stuff like that. He came to a game, and that was one of the first times we met him. Now, originally it's funny because I wasn't going to Manchester. I didn't want to go to Manchester because at the time, Manchester was the winning program. I didn't know who this guy. Who was this dude, man? This dude showing up at our games. I don't want to go play for them.
You want to go to probably Meadowbrook, right?
Probably Meadowbrook.
Meadowbrook was the option because my head coach at the time, Coach Gould, who ended up taking over the Meadowbrook's freshman or JV program or whatever the case may, he was going over there. So half of our team was split. So we was comprised of
in that chocolate middle right there. Anyway,
Meadowbrook,
Manchester
kids. So naturally, as a coach, when you got a good collection of talent, you want to keep all that together. So they took a pack of those kids over to Meadowbrook, and they had a ton of success. I think they ended up winning the state championship.
I think it was 04, 05.
04, 05. Yeah. And we took the other half of that and went up to Manchester and started to build the program that Manchester became today. So first day at Manchester, man, this is why I knew Coach Hall was different. First day we get up to Manchester, man, it's crazy, right? Manchester, if you don't understand Manchester culture, like the community culture, is very diverse. You know what I mean? You got it's very diverse.
Definitely,
So
definitely that.
You got it's a melting pot for sure, man. You got very affluent to non-affluent to
I'm glad you said that.
No, tell him.
it's so many different.
Don't cut no corners.
Tell him.
Don't cut no corners.
Don't cut no corners.
I don't cut no corners.
Don't cut. Hey, listen. Tell him. Our running back in high school was the first person we saw do what? Who I ain't say no names. Don't say no names. Don't say no names.
Man.
I lived in deep Chesterfield, and I've never been introduced to the Wire in real life. That's what I'll say.
Yo, chill, man.
Cass was going to high school that lived the Wire, and I was like, "That's what y'all do,
Man,
chill, man.
That's what y'all do.
I ain't got nothing to do with it.
Like, we pulled
that part.
Back in '99, that Turner Road area where he came from.
Oh
They was getting it in.
Yeah, because
they was getting it in.
That part, right.
Well,
That is.
it was so close to the city, and you had so many people who were just moving out of, I guess, the lower middle class, lower upper middle class, or whatever.
Yeah, over there. That's that whiff, close to that whiff territory.
Yeah. See, honestly, that's where I was gonna go. That's why I wanted to go. My cousins was there. My mom had relationships with the coaches and stuff like that.
Would have smoked y'all by 70 then.
Yeah, probably would have. That ain't the point. You know, I'm very family oriented. I got a huge family. If you know anything about Connor Masons, man, in the south side of Richmond, man, you know, it's 1,000 of us. So I wanted to be around my family at the time. But long story short, get to Manchester. Me and my nephew, because my nephew also played with me throughout. Or I played with him throughout. And you know, he having a great time. This is great for him. He's like, man, I really like it. I'm like, I can't stand it. Like, I don't like it. Like, I don't like people. I don't like the coach. I don't like none of this.
It's different over there, man. Like,
And we get into it, like, we really get it. We get active our first day there, we get into it with some of the JV guys that played ball further up Hall Street. So they were like Alberta Smith.
yeah.
Crenshaw.
So they kind of, and they JV guys, so they're a little older than us, and they've been there a year, so they kind of, you know, they got this presence about themselves, like, yeah, they, you know, this is our program as well. You know, we just coming in, bushy tail, green eyes, and like, well, who are these dudes? But we know who we are at the end of the day. You know, man, y'all coach came down and sought us out, to be honest with you. So we wasn't backing down. We weren't those type of kids, and they end up being a little kerfuffle. End up getting to a little kerfuffle, and that was the first time I seen Coach Tom Hall.
He turned up.
He did.
turned up.
But the way he did it, it was the way he did it was in a way where he was able to, because what he did was nothing short of miraculous, to be honest with you, to be able to bridge so many different cultures, like so many. I mean, it was just a cultural clash at Manchester. So many different people from so many different backgrounds, and to get everybody on the same page, to be able to have one common goal and to have one common purpose, and to really believe in one thing and to fight for one thing, which was Manchester football. That was something that he was able to do, and that was something that I personally noticed coming through the program that kind of kept me there, because I almost left again, but we got to go into all of that. But came back after I graduated college, left in 2004, came back after I graduated college 2010, and started my coach career at Manchester High School. Didn't go to college saying I'm about to be a coach, didn't come out. Coach Hall has a very funny way of convincing you of things, like you just do. And he's always been like a second father figure to me. So I've always, I never wanted to disappoint him or let him down. So if he asked, I always tried to, kind of acquiesce and do what it is that he needed me to do. That's probably why I stayed in coaching so long. I promise you. I talk to my wife every freaking offseason. Like, this it for me.
That's it.
Like, I can't do it no more. And then I get the phone, hey, bub, you coming back this year? And it's like, damn.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't. Like, so
I'm back.
Been there ever since. Left out in 2019. Did 2 years over at LCA with Coach Scott and those boys. My Uncle Gene over there. Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to Coach G, the OG.
Man, OG, man. I'm telling you, OG. Man, stories. A lot of stories there.
Man, Coach G funny, man.
Family secrets are family secrets, though. We'll keep that to ourselves. But OG Gene did like a stint at Cosby, came back, obviously wanted to support my brother. When he took over the program, I kind of had a feeling that he was going to take over the program. Like you said, we kind of knew. Tom kind of talked about making a transition at some point, and I kind of had an idea of what environment he wanted to place himself in. So I knew somewhere like a Prince George or some small town where you kind of control.
Yeah, that's what
I always knew that where he was going to settle down, so. And like Coach said, man, here we are now. So it's been a journey. I'll say that.
Yeah, but add to the one-time thing, when he did the live, he said, like, the whole stepping down thing, he had no plan, like, didn't know what he was going to do, and he said it was a complete leap of faith. He said, but when I started at Buffalo Gap, he was like, I always took liking into one school towns, single red light kind of thing, and he said, he was like, Prince George reminded me a lot of that. And he said another thing it reminded me of was Manchester back in '99 when I took over.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, wasn't much out there.
Everybody say,
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
It won't.
Not like it is now.
Nah,
It changed
nah,
fast, too.
Real
Like,
quick.
It changed really fast.
Yeah, like it is now.
That one town team thing is a thing.
It
like,
is.
Like
It is.
coaching at Hopewell. I gotta bring them up. Coaching at Hopewell I was in one high school town, and it was completely different. It was completely different.
Oh yeah, you could imagine that.
Yeah.
That area is Petersburg, Hopewell,
Louisa.
Dinwiddie. Yeah, especially Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
You know that. Coach Chap,
Yes, sir.
you up next.
Man,
We saving the best for last.
yeah, for real. No, I know.
Yeah, you. Oh yeah, you. No disrespect to Coach Chap. We look. I'd have just got checked today. I ain't even know Coach Chap resumes. I'm gonna let y'all tell it. Yeah, we had to get Harry Lee up in this joke. Had to get Harry Lee straight today. Shout out to HarryLee.
Yeah, I'm the elder of the group for sure now, which is kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
Man, you
Kinda
look young, man.
Well, I appreciate
You're a
it.
vampire.
I appreciate you. I try.
Oh, well, there it is.
I try my best.
There it is.
But I started coaching in 2001.
Okay.
And my first.
Damn, that's when I graduated.
Yeah, I know.
What do you think? Black don't crack.
Been around a minute.
Hey, Coach Chap, get him, Coach Chap, get him,
I
get
know.
him, get him.
Gotta put these youngins in their place sometimes.
Yeah, get him, man, get him. We gonna get. Hey, KO. Hey. Go ahead, Coach.
You good. But coach is my blood, man. My dad was a coach for 35 years. A little small town called Lunenburg down in Southern Virginia.
Yeah, they were winning some championships.
Won a bunch.
Yeah.
Won a bunch. I played 4 years of football in high school and lost 2 games.
Jeez.
That was a lot of winning.
Yeah, when I was in school, they were running things.
A lot of winning.
They were running things in the 90s.
So that was good. It was great. And got into sales, got into business, was going to make a lot of money, did all that. And this is where my heart is. Heart was always with football.
Okay.
So I knew a couple guys, ended up meeting Coach Burton from over at Highland Springs, and actually went over there for 7 years. I taught and coached over there, and that's where I met young Harry Lee at the time, and we had that conversation. And
What did you tell Harry Lee? What did you tell Harry Lee? Go and let everybody know that.
if anybody knows Harry Lee, he's got a lot of energy. Well, imagine him as like a 9th grader coming in there. All he wanted to do was show me and everybody else how far he could throw a daggone football. And he could throw it probably through that wall right there. But if I told him to hit you, he might hit my man over there.
We got something on you now, Harry Lee.
And it didn't matter if it was a 2-yard throw or a 20-yard throw. It was coming at you like 900 miles an hour. And we messed around with it because he was athletic and we were going to try this and that. And then about a couple weeks into it, we're like, son, you come and you get him, you put the arm around him. It's like, let me see you talk to you a little bit, try to help you out, put you in the best situation for yourself. And to his credit, he didn't really like it at first, but then he kind of bought into it and started having a little fun and played receiver and had a great career at Highland Springs, went on to Richmond and had a great career there. And now he's doing great things at Highland Springs. So that was cool. And then I was living in Chesterfield the whole time.
Okay.
So that drive just,
oh man,
after 7 years, those tolls and those drives just kind of wearing on me. Coach Burton left. So it was kind of a good opportunity. And I lived in a neighborhood with Coach Hall and another assistant who was my neighbor. And they were always kind of like, hey man, would you be interested? And we ran the West Virginia spread stuff back in Highland Springs when spread was still kind of young and new and it wasn't what everybody did. And the rich rod stuff. And so Coach Hall, his 2-minute drill was a power eye. He didn't know anything else. I mean, you played for him, am I wrong?
Yeah.
I'm not wrong.
22, 23 person.
22 ISO.
So, third and long, we were running ISO. It didn't matter.
Right now,
like, that's what he did.
38 toes.
But he knew he had athletes there. He just didn't. That's what he knew.
Right.
So he and I kind of met, and he was like, look, you know how to do it. If you come in here, you can just take the reins and go with it. That was a perfect situation for me.
Yo, absolutely.
So I rolled in and then rolled into a lot of athletes, a lot of good people, great opportunity. And we just started kind of working from there. So I was there 2008. So I was the OC for 17 years.
Okay.
And then until, just about 2 years ago. And I just got old and like the stuff in the time that I was putting into it became more of like a chore and a job. And I was like, this isn't how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be like fired up like I was the first 17 years. So kind of took a step back, knew I wanted to coach, just kind of wanted to kind of move from that aspect of it. But so hung around, worked with like the tight ends and H-backs and special teams last year. I'm going to kind of do something similar this year with the receivers and all of that sort of stuff. And man, love it. Been around great people, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And I coached with Tom for like 16 years. I've coached you now for 12.
Yeah. I got to do the math.
So we've been together like 12. So and that's what's cool, I think, about where we are. I mean, hell, I probably coached with you for that long too.
210.
People don't really leave. Like they really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of turnover in high school coaches, but I feel like our staff for a long time, we just left because it was just good. We enjoy being around each other.
For sure.
That's good.
And everything else kind of fell into place. So
it was good because even going back to what KO was saying earlier, I love the fact that each school that you go to, everybody is kind of connected to the school, whether they went there or they just long-time coaches there. And I think the kids can come in and buy into that program and help these programs kind of take off a lot sooner than they were. I mean, you look at the I mean, I'm even use 757 example. As much as I jump on them, you can look at what Hampton did and Phoebus did. It's like you getting the guys from the area, the community, and these guys come in, they already know what it is, and they boom, 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 and that's what you guys did over there, made Manchester a championship program, man. So that's good to hear because we don't know that.
Right.
You know, especially coming from where I come from, we like, where's Manchester?
Yeah.
We know what it is, but it's way out somewhere that we can't even drive to. You know, so now for me, just learning you guys and learning about your program, it helps me understand more about Manchester than I knew before.
Right.
And I just want everybody else to be able to see this as well. So I appreciate you giving me that information. Got anything on that? You know?
Not really, no. I got more questions for you.
Oh yeah, see, I told you.
man.
I told you. I told you we saved the best for last, man.
I just came to do my job.
Try to get fined.
He ain't trying to get fined.
Coach Harold said, "Bring your ass to this podcast."
No, you bring that energy, man. No, you bring that energy, man. We got Coach KO, man. You know, listen, man. You know, we've been like beating him up all day, but it's all in fun because he said, you know, he the shit talker, and hey, you know, I'm petty, you know, real petty. So so I want to challenge that.
Let's not bring up sports plug again.
We done with that.
We done with that.
Yeah,
All right.
We're trying to move on, dude.
Yeah, we let that die. Coach KO, give us your background. Tell us what's up, man.
Listen, played football out in Chesterfield all my life. Went to college, played for 4 years. Came back, did the coaching carousel, went back in CQL. Started with what was the name of that team? On Iron Bridge, right by the highway.
Bueller?
No.
Hopkins?
No. Henning. Coached at Henning. Shout out to Alex Bryant. Went from Henning to the Chesterfield Falcons.
Okay.
Then Coach Scott came and got me. He scooped me up from
A couple
from there.
got the disciples on the staff.
Coached for the Canes. Got a couple championships there. That's why when we did the podcast earlier, you asked me about those players. I told you I got a couple championships with them. I got a couple championships with the kids they have there now. Then was blessed to COVID happen. So when COVID happened, my work schedule freed up a little bit. I was still employed, but it still freed up a little bit.
Let that be known.
And so coached at Hopewell for 4 years, from 2000 to when did I come over here? Last year. Yeah. So yeah, 4 years. So from 19 into from 19
brings up another question.
There
yeah,
you go.
from 19 until 2003, I guess, whatever the year was. Got the call from him, told me he was interested because I live I live 5 minutes from Manchester.
Okay.
And so I was taking that trip down to Hopewell every day.
Man,
Saving gas. My wife was happy.
Especially you ain't got to take 295. Did you?
Yeah, no, I had to take 288 to 95 to 10.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you went to Safeway.
Yeah. And so
you went to Safeway.
So did that, learned a whole lot for that. What I could say about that that time was I don't think I could be the coach right now for Manchester if it wasn't for that time I had at Hopewell. It taught me a different side of football.
Shout out Coach Irby.
Yep, Ricky Irby, Coach Brock, Coach B, Coach Pete, Coach Reese, all those guys out there. It taught me differently. It taught me how to talk to kids differently as well.
Okay.
Because in that 14U, because I coach 14U football. In that 14U football, you only get them twice a week, and it's like it's coaching football. But the Canes was really about. For me, it was about coaching football and instilling certain things, but it really is about cattling talent, right? Because they just had, it was an AAU team, so it just had so much talent. You didn't have to coach up guys who didn't really belong there or didn't know what they were doing. When I get to Hopewell, those guys have a great program. It's a one school area, but they don't have the wealth of talent that I had at the Canes, right? So you have these kids who are, starting for you at left tackle who are, 5'9" and 180 pounds, but they have the heart. You know what I mean? You have these kids, and then also what happened to me at that program as well is taught me how to teach up the 2s and 3s.
Okay.
Because their 2s and 3s are way tighter than our 2s and 3s. You know what I mean? Some kids who are playing for us at JV will be starting there. At varsity, you know what I mean? So, it just taught me something differently. So, but I kept that passion. I got the call, came over, and I'm just happy to be where I'm at, man. I'm one of the younger guys, not the younger guys in age, but younger guys in tenure at Manchester. But they still respect me for the fact that I was one of the guys who pretty much started the program. You know, one of the first guys. We had the first 2,000 yard rushes. We had 1,000 yard rushes in that season. First time we beat Thomas Dale in almost 20 years. First time we beat Bird. Like that culture change happened, right? And so I'm coming in knowing, hey, listen, what does it mean to go into a Bird game? What does it mean to do certain things like that? So he tells me not tells me, but he says it all the time. I'm the temperament guy. The offensive line coaches are always going to be the loudest, the one that yells at everybody, the one who's saying the things that are on the borderline.
I just can't do it no more.
Yeah.
Hey,
and so
you know that, right?
And so,
I can't do it no more.
And I enjoy being over here. I'm out my brother, even though I blocked for him when he was a fullback when we was running that wing T, power I. The 3 running backs in the backfield. And so I block for my brother, and it's funny because I'm on the offensive side now. He's on the defensive side, and so when we go to inside running stuff like that, me and him are going back and forth. We have 2 very loud personalities, and so it's a lot of back and forth between us. And the kids look at us like, "Oh my God, they're about to fight!" And it's like, "That's my brother right there." Bro. Yeah, like it's So it's I'm glad I could bring it to the team, and I'm looking forward to the season coming up and seeing what we can do. I feel like this is a team that has the potential to do something great. I'm looking forward to the season.
We're gonna get into that, because I go back. I'm gonna let you, because I want to go back to when you asked me what made me get into football. Basketball is always, football was always my favorite sport, but I kind of went into football, get into basketball. Just growing up in the inner city, that's what it was. But doing this podcast, I started off wanting to talk basketball because that's what I know mostly. I can't really go into the X's and O's when it comes to football. I know what I see. I can tell you what to do. But as far as the name, stuff like I can't do that personally. So I know that by myself. But the interesting thing that when I'm talking to seeing the brotherhood that the coaches and the players have, man, I gravitate to. I actually can't wait every year to do football podcasts because you guys just, I don't know if it's maybe because of just more coaches, y'all spend time together on the basketball side. For whatever reason, just very few programs actually have that chemistry together to where I want to interview them. Mm-hmm. You guys, like I said, when it was that live we did, right? Man, I kind of acted stupid on that one too, right? But it was fun, man. And I was like, man, I got to get those guys on. And every time I see Coach Harold's like, yo, when we gonna have this podcast? And I think we probably like 2 or 3 times.
I'm about to say, yeah. I'm at the basketball game.
Yeah, basketball game. And I said, we're gonna push it back. We're gonna push it back because I wanted to do. Because I know these 757 groups are gonna start up and everything like that, which is gonna heat up now because it's about that time. And I wanted everybody to see you guys to know because everybody. One thing I can say down there, they knew y'all championship program. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to say, hey, I want y'all to see what I see, and that's why I wanted to wait until I actually have this stuff done. Because I think you guys are the first to start this thing off the 25, 26 years.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, because next week we go to Dinwiddie.
Okay.
Next Wednesday go to Dinwiddie. Next week. Yeah, so I just wanted to do that, but just going right into it, what should we expect this year, man? 24 to 25, 26 Manchester. I mean, since y'all ain't being ranked nowhere or whatever, right? Perfect. We ain't gonna go.
I ain't look at range.
I'm not a rankings guy either.
I'll rank players, not teams.
I actually don't even do people because, like, I felt like one time Coach Turk over there at Trinity, shout out to Turk, and he asked me, he said, "Man, why you don't do rankings?" I said, I just don't, right?
And plus, you don't want to screw up with the public and private thing where you could say Trinity's better this year than say Bird, and then Coach Bland blow your phone up. How are you comparing them better than us?
Yeah, you're right. I don't want to deal with that. And I know for me, I don't do the extensive research that he does, Matt Hatfield does, Gary, those guys who are legends, Deshaun Robertsons, all those guys that put that time into that. Yeah, those guys who really do it. I'm just more trying to get people to know you as the staff. Because the head coach is the man we always know that's going to be the front. He's going to get the guys, going to do wins and the losses. They're coming to him. Why y'all ain't beat Huguenot? Why y'all ain't beat Meadowbrook or whatever?
I can tell y'all why they didn't beat Huguenot.
Well,
Ain't gonna get into that though.
Oh, okay.
so that's what we doing today.
That's what we doing. Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Pretty simple. He had more points than we did.
You know what I'm gonna say.
You better be careful.
Okay, so let's get into this. Let me adjust my seat.
Let me.
So y'all are in the Dominion District, where for anybody who doesn't know, y'all do. They only get one out of district game, and then they're pinpointed to a district. Now I'm not gonna name any names, but there's the high school transfer portal seems to hit pretty well in that district. And you got teams who stack up.
Wow. Just let you know this is him speaking.
They said we don't co-sign.
Thank you, K.O. I appreciate that. This ain't got nothing to do with me.
That team.
Like
I'm coming to
all
frog over
teams
here.
are good. Like Clover Hill's getting ready to. I think a revival with Coach Hutch coming
Sure,
back.
I like him.
Yeah,
Great hire.
we like
great
him.
hire.
I mean, he also a homegrown guy. He went there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be different.
I heard about that too.
And then you got Gross at Midlow. I think they're gonna be.
Middle back.
It'll be a rebuild year, I believe. And then y'all got y'all who's always good. Bird's good. Huguenot's now back. And then, like, y'all's district is competitive.
For sure.
And again, I've always said this. I've told them too. Like it needs to be competitive, right? I mean, it's now to the point winning a district or winning a region is great, but at this point in time, like everybody wants to keep moving on, right? So if your district or whoever you play, if your schedule is not competitive, it's going to be hard for you to make it out of these playoffs. You run into a team that's been battle tested because at the end of the day, there's a lot of schools that I know this is the ones that 757 ran last year, and they all were great schools. But it's not every year that schools that are 15-0 that just go and win. Like they've been battle tested.
Yeah,
they've been battle tested throughout the whole entire season. So. Again, those are things that, we look at. Like I said, I remember when Scott over there, I said, well, I'll be good for the district. Hutch coming in, I said, that'd be good for the district. Like, you can't just go through and just play teams. Because, again, the kids see that, too. Your kids will take a step backwards when they're playing a team that that they, feel lesser than. And then, it's kind of one of those things that you got to coach them out of that, right? You got to make sure that you continue to coach the way you're going to coach, regardless of who you're playing. But again, now that film's readily available for everybody, it's hard to try to convince this kid that that guy's going to be good. You know what I mean? So, I enjoy the competition. There's nothing I never shy from. And again, like I said, I've been the one that, again, like going up the mountain and getting to the top, that's always been a satisfaction for you. Like, going the easy road is, it is what it is. But when you have worked for it and you started from the bottom and you put all these pieces together and you did everything you did and it comes out right, that's a great feeling.
Yeah, that's a great feeling.
Well, it's how you learn who you are, too. Like, it hasn't always worked out for us. In fact, it hadn't us starting the year against Highland Springs. I mean, on the scoreboard and in the stands, it hadn't like looked like a positive. But when we watch that film and break down that film, like they're going to expose what we need to work on. Right. So when you scrimmage good teams and you play good teams, that really like gives you an idea of what we got to fix moving forward. So maybe we didn't win on the scoreboard, but honestly, like playing those tough teams early really helps us kind of figure out
the good parts that you find.
what we got to focus on, and that's what we, no matter who we play, it's us against us.
And I go back to the point you made last time about the up and down season last year. Like that last down we had, it hit everybody. We had to come to Jesus. Like we basically had a meeting with staff. I brought the staff together, and we had a whole meeting with the kids, like, we are better than what we just put out last round. And then you can tell from that game against Midlow to where we were at the end of the season, we was two different teams.
Absolutely.
Like way different, like completely different. So I mean, it was a loss, but again, like in the day, if you take a loss and you settle on it, then it is a loss. But if you take that loss and you use it as a lesson, then again it becomes beneficial for you. So again, like I said, everything was created from that moment there, created what we became throughout the rest of the season.
Shout out to our new sponsor, Garrett and Rufty. Great guy, team of skilled craftsmen, make your life easier. They do it right. Check out their website in the description of the show.
And for me, some of that was expected. You had a entire new situation. Talking about the whole Trinity was new. The head coach, the OC, the DC. Culturally, some of the things were similar, yes, because that just was a mainstay because of the coaches that we kept on staff. And then everybody kind of just having experience with Manchester culture. But, I mean, that's still a tall task, man, when you replace them three. Replacing one is, that's a challenge. But replacing all three at one time...
with a lot of young kids.
With a lot of young kids too. That's what kind of contributed to what you would say was a slow start.
Yeah.
But like Coach Harrell alluded to, this is what I'll say this. This is what I've always loved about Manchester. And this is what I've always learned, throughout these I've been at Manchester for a long time too, right? Week 1 has never looked like week 10. My entire time being there.
I think that's the case for everybody.
My entire time being at Manchester High School, week 1 has never looked like week 10. And for me being a young coach when I first came in, it was able to teach me that mountain he was just talking about. Like how that week 1, week 2, week 3, and so forth and so forth. And, get into week 7 or get into week 8 and being able to start to play your best ball heading into the playoffs. And that's kind of ultimately where you want to be at. But that's any team, regardless of what the program is. That's kind of what you want to be at if you want to try to push and to make a run. So I feel like we've always been able to do that. And last year, for me, it was the same. It was business as usual. Tough game against Holly Springs. We dropped one against Midlothian. Everybody would love to have that back. Dropped one against Huguenot. We did a lot of things differently after that game that we didn't do prior to that game. And like he alluded to early on, Coach Chap even alluded to, when you play those tough games early on, it forces you to look at yourself. And we made a lot of schematical changes, after those games, that by the time we got to week 6, week 7, we were a completely different team. Personnel changes were different. We had guys who were starting in one position who weren't starting there no more. They were starting at other positions, or they may have been coming off the bench in other positions or whatever. So I mean, that's a part of the process, man. I love the fact that the kids stayed with it. That was a group because. Everybody don't know this. We all know this, but that was a unique group of kids. It still is. We're going to have a great 2026 season for sure. 2025, 26 season, we're going to have a great season. But for us as a program, that's a unique group of kids that we had. I mean, even when they were all on JV together. And we had to shut the JV program down. We had to shut the JV program down. You know what I mean? Because, just kids being kids and just and some things happening and it kind of went how it went. But for all of those different personalities within that group, that 2026 class, man, for them to stick with it. And to even practice was tough. We're gonna be hard coach. We're gonna coach them hard. We're gonna do what we're supposed to be doing. Things are not panning out how they think it should. They're not making the same plays that they would like to make. This scoreboard don't reflect what they think it should reflect. But they stuck with it, and that's a testament to them, and that's also a testament to us as well as coaches. For keeping those guys focused and keeping them on track. And I think we'll see the dividends of all of that stuff we went through last year. We'll see the dividends of all that stuff coming into this football season. I promise you that. So
it was good. Are y'all playing on scrimmage in Phoebus again this year?
Yeah. So it's actually going to be a jamboree.
Yeah.
It's going to be August 15th. So we're going to go to Kings Fort. So we're going to come down and hang out. So it'll be us, Kings Fort, and Phoebus.
Okay. Figure out
what's the thing y'all are doing with PG and Bird?
And Herm. So that's kind of it's a camp. It's a team camp.
Okay.
So team camps, you can kind of go in and kind of install your stuff. And I guess if you want to look at it, like OTAs with the NFL, and you kind of like hanging out with another team.
Okay.
Y'all do one-on-ones and things of that nature with each other. So that's what we're going to be doing towards the end of July. So we're gonna, like I said, we're not gonna. Bird's gonna be there, but we're gonna, because again, we see them in the season. So we're not gonna be like on the field with Bird.
Right.
Yeah, doing all that stuff, like showing what you got, all that stuff.
So I mean, that's one of the things that we're not gonna do. But the other two teams, we're definitely gonna get.
That doesn't hurt us that much anyway because we see Bird in the middle of the season. Anything can happen by the time we see Bird.
Yeah.
But still, at the end of the day, I mean, no one wants to.
Yeah.
It's like
No, I agree. I agree.
There's a point that we used to scrimmage Thomas Hill all the time,
And then always
they
play
don't
the
see him in the
play.
playoffs.
Right, ain't that crazy?
But we scrimmaged.
That's record y'all class 6.
We scrimmaged Ocean Lakes that year,
And we did. We saw them
and we seen them in the playoffs. The kids knew.
Yeah.
Our kids knew. Like, nah, this ain't it. We ready.
Because Ocean Lakes, when we scrimmaged them, it was kind of tight. But we had we pulled people or whatever like that. So when we came to the
played
game,
them. What was it?
like
Semis.
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 Came back and played them in
the
semis.
kids knew. It was like
They knew what time it was. These people don't want.
So, like I said, it's kind of like one of the things. You want to feel each other out. You don't want to rematches going on when at a scrimmage when we got to see a team anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Talk about that 7-on-7s y'all had up in Charlottesville a couple of weeks ago.
Brought home a couple chips.
Nah, we made it to 2, which is impressive because I've been here since 13. When, I love Coach Hall to death. We probably went to 3. And come from 7-by-7. That's all you do. So
Right, pretty much.
I'm
Yeah.
like, y'all go to 7-on-7 up here? Nah. I'm like, okay. You got a quarterback, right? Yeah. We're not going to 7-on-7? Nah. All right.
Wow.
We had a couple of good runs, but when we again, like, so one of the transitions, I don't know if you know, so the new head coach of Monacan was our OC.
I was going to get into that too. I was saving that
He
question.
played with RG3 apparently.
Yeah, he was a tight end.
Yeah, I met him at the game. It's a Phoebus scrimmage.
Yeah. So yeah, great guy. Shout out to him. Good
Yeah,
luck to him.
we gotta get him too. I gotta get his number too. So I can.
We can come to week 1.
Huh?
Sure, week 1.
Yeah, we got.
Oh, week 1.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Week 1 for me is Coach Hall. Week him versus Glen Allen.
What
5 minutes up the road.
The 28th of August.
You know, I got to see where I'm at on that one.
All right, yeah, just let me know.
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
I live right around the corner. I live literally. I can walk to Manchester. What's that? Monica, Manchester.
It's gonna be at Manchester.
Oh, I can't walk there. Yeah, I can't walk there.
So one of the things again, because again, I was always, everybody know me as a defensive guy, but I do have a little bit of offensive background. I coached a little bit in the beach when I was there too, because we kind of did both sides. But so that was kind of the question mark, when he went there, and
I ain't gonna spank him, is you?
huh?
Y'all ain't gonna spank him, is you?
Yes.
Look at Coach.
Yes.
I ain't no trash talk. If you come to the game,
That one right there.
come to the game. Find me in the game. I talk trash at the games, not before.
Okay.
Ball down.
But anyway, when we get to the
Put it down anywhere.
Put the ball down, man.
Put it down anywhere.
we
Ball
get to
down.
that situation to where now I was like, look, the things I wanted to be done in, how I want to be seen. So I didn't want to try to bring in an OC at the last minute. Coach Chap again, he's so excited being the special teams coordinator.
Right.
I asked him, I asked him, but he's like, Coach, buddy, I help you. I was like, that's cool. So, so that's how, I end up doing it. And like I said, I've done enough. I've been around football enough, know some things. So again, we had a system kind of in place and kind of went with that. And I just added some pieces and things to that as well. And we went to UVA and no expectations. Just showing up, we knew we had some good kids. But again, as that day went on, the kids got more and more excited and kind of figured out, I was like, oh, we can do this. And kept playing. And, it was funny because we played Varina, and Varina put a hurting on us. I mean, they beat us by like 30. In the pool play.
30, 15, 30, 14, something like that.
I was like, good Lord. But one of those things that I observed when we lost that game, because a lot of things happened in the game. It wasn't like we weren't out of plays. Not like that. Kids were making plays. He was like, hey, kid, you made a play. Can't do nothing. But the thing I noticed after that game was our kids weren't down. They weren't defeated. They didn't quit. They weren't whining. Went to the next game, picked it back up. And then it just kept moving again. Then we saw them again in the playoffs. And again, at this time, the kids had the confidence. They're like, look, we can win this game. Like we know what happened last game.
Yeah, that's the game I watched. I watched that one.
We know what happened last time. We know now it's our turn. We just gotta make the plays. So those kids, they played. I mean, they played everything with everything they had. You know, we had kids cramping up the whole day. The next guy step up. You know, they start making plays. So we made it to that championship. We ran into my man Uber.
Boy, man.
Yeah. I talked to him.
He didn't get his whole bike back. He got the tire back.
Yeah, I
got the tire
talked to
back
him.
from us, but
I ran into him
still
up
got
in
the
St. James.
half of it.
You know he had to let me know. You know he had to let me know when I
I
was
know.
in St. James. I was like, He said, yeah. You know, I was like, I said, you're trying to be humble about it, but I know what you're trying to do.
Nah.
Yeah, man. I was like,
Nah, he argued with me. No, it is what it is.
Him and Jeff.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, Jeff was all over the place.
Oh,
Man.
God.
Yeah, right.
He didn't even get into that. Shout out to Jeff, man. Hey, crazy.
I said, man, he was on sideline. How you come over here?
No, really?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I seen him right there. I forgot who he was playing.
Playing him.
Oh yeah.
He was playing.
Like, Jeff, what you doing, man?
Yeah, I want to feel. I said, hold on, what's this dude over here next to me?
Man, shout out to them, man.
Hey, man,
Man, I
shout
thought
out
it
to Jeff
was the prettiest thing ever. I was like, oh
Yeah,
my
for
God. I said, oh man, yeah. I said, all right, bro.
Jeff Wild Boy.
So I guess he remember too. I guess
Yeah, for sure.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just...
Nah, but it is what it is. Like I said, but the kids were again, they competed the entire time, and I was proud of those guys. And again, like I said, they came home. You know, it was battle tested. It was something they fought for. So again, they was able to see that this one mishap that we had didn't prevent us to get to where we needed to be. Mm-hmm. So they fought, and again they competed the entire day. And like I said, we fought through it because we was outside the most time. And like I said, our kids were, out there exposed to the heat, cramping up and everything else. But, it wasn't to a point to where the kid didn't want to go in. Mm-hmm. You've been around coaches a long time. You can see kids that were just like, exploding. All right, I had enough. All right. I coach. I can't, they point at this and that. I'm like, but, these kids was like, tried to get back in. They was finding every way to get back on the field. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, yo, they, even they was subbing in. It was like, I'm gonna make this play. You come get me right after this.
Yeah, I like that. That's what you.
I look again. Like I said, I didn't even care who was in there. As long as you run the right route, I don't care what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And kind of same thing on defense. As long as you knew what you was doing on defense, hey, going out there, man, get your guy rep. Keep we rotating in and out, and those guys are moving. And that's kind of like the same thing that happened with ODU, like that Maury game. Again, they beat us early. Hermitage beat us early.
We went 2-2, man.
We
2-2, and
we started off real sloppy in that one. And again, we turned around and beat both of them in the playoff. And then, like I said, I know it was the one play that actually had me laughing because when we scored, we had all backups in the game.
Yeah,
like we was losing. We was down, I think we was down by 2 at that time, 2 touchdowns. And then again, all the guys were on the sideline, kind of cramping up,
man.
Mustard, whatever they can get to try to get back in the game. I had a lot of backups in there, and we ended up scoring. Mm-hmm. And that just ignited everybody just like that. Mm-hmm. All right, no, we gonna finish this game.
Yeah,
and they did. So they jumped back in and ready to play, and like it was like again those kids were battling the whole entire day because I don't know if you've ever been to ODU. Or just been to Norfolk or 757, Hampton. When you on that water, you swimming while you walking around. Like there's humidity out there, so it was already humid.
Yeah.
Then the sun came out, so I was like, so again.
ODU Stadium.
At ODU Stadium. Yeah. Then you're on the turf.
Yeah.
The turf is another 10 degrees hotter. So it was another. Again, the kids just. I mean, it was funny every time you had probably like a 5-minute break. Yeah, I mean, as soon as the game was over, they in the shade somewhere. And I couldn't blame them. I'm like, all right, man. I'm just waiting for the next one. So it was, again, one of those games just to watch your kids fight and then get the rewards that you got at the end. It was a positive thing.
Definitely.
So again, we went to ECU this past Saturday. That one was okay. We didn't make it to the playoffs. We didn't make it to the championship with that one. That again, it's a different type of environment. One of those. You get in a situation where you kind of hot, you're clicking, and we got a bye. But before that bye in the playoffs, we also had a 2-hour break. This is the way our games were set up. So we played all games early. We had to sit and watch 2 games, and then we had a bye. So our guys kind of came out a little sloppy. And that down there, that just 15 minutes. So the person who letting the ball last, kind of one of those things that ended up putting us out in that one. So again. for the most part, the kids played well. We had a lot of things we can correct for the most part, but again, that's 7-on-7. So once that thing's over, so now we just get it together and get ready for the pads, because there's some have 7-on-7 serves its purpose, right? We get to see what kids are competing, right? The schemes and things you run, because I was laughing about it at ODU, because again, Coach Collins, everything's football, right? It doesn't make sense to him to play football. So he had positional football players out there when we started at 7-on-7. We say we ran in the herd, and we just watch the guys run past it. He's like, nah, man, we ain't doing this no more.
Well, I said, we playing 7-on-7 now.
7-on-7 now.
We playing 7-on-7.
Let's go ahead and put these guys out here that don't play linebacker.
7 DBs.
Yeah, straight up, man. Yeah.
Start running around with those dudes, and like I said, it is what it is. So, like I said, that's what I said. 7-on-7, it serves its purpose. And I know like Coach Hall didn't really like going anyway, because again, it doesn't really dictate what your season's going to be. But you do get to see how your kids react to adversity, how your kids are going to fight when it's hard. Again, just the mentality of the kid, like remembering to play when it's hot, remembering to play when they're tired, like going through the process, fighting to just a win, compete. So, I believe that's the good purpose of 7-on-7. Like, it's always great to see these highlights and things like that. A lot of those catches don't happen when you got pads on. So, so it is what it is.
Exactly.
But basically what I was going to say is, like, the one thing I don't like about 7-on-7 is you look at teams and then they dominate all these tournament things, and you say, okay, that team's going to win a state title. I fell for that last year. And then basically I sat down with, didn't sit down, but I texted one of my old coaches who said, do not buy somebody's hype off 7-on-7. It's just skill players.
Yeah, I'm about to say you're missing the whole key point to the game.
Yeah.
The whole key point to the game.
No one has 4 seconds to throw.
There's a line. Offensive, defensive line will change everything.
I forget. Who did you buy?
You know who I bought. The same team everyone bought last year, but got stomped at the end of the season.
I just want you to say it.
Who got bought?
I was like, who you talking about?
You cannot.
Oh, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're not signing off with
That's what
Shout out to Coach Lewis, man.
Yeah,
the boys put on
Varina doing their thing, man. D1 is real, man. Caleb is real.
Now they got Sir Paul,
Big
Michael Farley,
Sir Paul.
dog, man.
Yeah.
Like I said,
They got
the line
loaded,
make a
bro.
difference.
Yeah.
They are loaded.
For real.
That's crazy, man. The old man in the room, man.
I know.
You say you coach too?
The kid, the Richardson kid,
Bull.
Varina.
Oh, Bull?
Coach's dad.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Jay Rich. Shout out Jay Rich.
Shout out to Jay Rich, man. Shout out. Yeah, then you got Coach Puka calling the plays over there.
Okay, yeah.
And you got Robbie Jackson over there now, strength and conditioning. So
Yeah. They got some
Who's
special
calling the plays?
I'm glad they're not in 6.
Man, they gonna build tough out, man.
They go OC now.
They gonna build tough out.
Glad they're not in 6.
But I got another question. So I'm sure all of y'all probably thought this was going to come up. Well, Coach Hall at PG, after this cycle, is there a chance we get a Prince George Manchester game?
Good question.
It's a possibility, honestly. I think for the most part, he wanted to kind of have those guys cycle out before he even, made that thing. So I think we kind of get the little taste of it just going through a little mini camp with him. As, because honestly, like one of the things that I want to, because again, like you alluded to earlier, we only got one game out of district. So
That's so wrong.
Dominion District get better.
Every other
well, we were good until Power
Powhatan,
came in
man.
there, so that messed us up because you should be able to get 2 games.
And it's going to be even wicked when they put the other high school out there.
Yeah, so
when they build another high school.
Might get landlocked.
Yeah.
Wow.
Might get landlocked. I just thought about that.
Yeah, you thought about that.
So hopefully, like I said, it be something where they either redistrict the schools.
Well, you can't really do that.
Yeah,
Well, you can. You can say
you can. There's some schools they can take out.
Listen, they can take Huguenot and Whiff. They don't. They're
city schools.
They're city schools.
Yeah.
Like. And don't get me wrong, I love playing Huguenot.
Yeah.
Like I love playing Huguenot. Don't get me wrong. Like nobody's ducking no wreck, but
They done
we can.
the new school is Powhatan that they added in there.
Right.
The originals is
But when you look at the geographic part of it, Whip is really away from everybody else.
No, they right down the street for real. From us.
From who?
Manchester.
I live in the middle between George Whip and Manchester. They ain't nowhere far.
20 minutes.
Well, we got to go. We got to come all the way out here to Powhatan.
Listen to me, y'all. George Whip is in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. No, it absolutely is.
It ain't nowhere near Manchester. Come on, let's get to this. You're gonna get to Monacan before you get to Manchester.
Well, you know what? We ain't traveled there in so long, so
Right.
You're right.
You're gonna get to James River before you get to Manchester.
Might be closer too.
Right, that's why I said James River.
Clover Hill, right down the street.
Clover Hill is then you got Midlow. I'm right in the middle. I'm right up there between
Very right down the street.
Providence.
But see, but let's talk about it though. If we want to pod, right? Let's talk about it. So why we got Meadowbrook all the way out? Meadowbrook plays Thomasdale, they play Hopewell, they play Colonial Heights, they play Dinwiddie.
Toughest district in the state of Virginia.
But
But what's funny is there's no more districts. That they got rid of the districts.
Exactly.
But you got to play teams in your district that don't even exist.
They don't even exist,
They don't
right.
even acknowledge anymore.
That's crazy.
I always
That
thought,
is crazy.
Me personally, I understand you got Meadowbrook, Bird, and Thomasdale. I don't understand why you don't have more Bird Meadowbrook game when pretty much they always been kind of like a jive rivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that Dale has been that, but
That's what it is.
I mean, you think about it.
When we was in
because
high school, we played them.
right.
Yeah.
Because Dale and Meadowbrook, Meadowbrook and Bird are right there.
Right. They are right there.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real close.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was like, and for me, and like I said, for where I live at, it's like, okay, you got y'all here, Huguenot, Trinity, James River. Then you go on the other side, Midlow, Clover Hill right there. Then then Cosby. But then, like you said, Powhatan is, you got to connect Powhatan to you guys.
Yeah.
So it's like, so if you're going to remove anybody, I hate to say it, has to be George Whiff.
Yeah.
And move them maybe to play with Thomas Jefferson.
TJ and them.
You know what I mean? Because
TJ and them, John Marshall.
it's Southside, but it's really kind of like out the way.
Yeah.
In a sense, even though, like you said, it ain't far. It's closer more to Huguenot than it is more to them. But I'm like, I said, man, these schools are all right there by each other. Except for Powhatan ain't that. It's just closer.
It would help George Whiff as well because they have open enrollment in Richmond.
Right.
And so those kids in the city don't know about George Whiff football because they don't play anybody in the city. You know what I mean? Or as much as they should be because they're in the main district, they're in the Chesterfield area. So they would get more of those Richmond City kids.
They need to have the city schools play each other. Like, there's no reason why TJ Whiff and Huguenot and John Marshall should be playing each other all the time.
Yeah,
like we used to.
make the city schools one whole district.
Right,
there ain't no district.
But the thing about it is, it's only 4 city schools
Most
now?
confusing thing ever.
And then John Marshall's going down to 1, I think.
Wow.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
They lost a lot of.
They lost a lot of kids. Yeah. Armstrong went down to 2. TJ went down to 2.
Huguenot's a 4.
Huguenot is 4, but see, Huguenot is on the cusp. The next block is Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Then you go 2 blocks where you go about 5 or 6 blocks over is Trinity. Then you go another half a mile over is James River.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like, so
James
you got
River's
that.
right there.
Then if you go across the bridge, it's Benedictine. So
St. Chris out there somewhere.
They West End.
Actually, if you go across the bridge from Huguenot,
You can't get there.
you go right across
Like
the
on
bridge
Richmond.
from Huguenot to St. Chris is close.
It's better. It's by the university.
Probably like 7 minutes. So so you getting kept, but I think those St. Chris kind of affects more of TJ than anybody. You know, because you're getting that where TJ is, it's like it's the city, but it's like all of that old money is right there. So those kids going to and Coach Harris and Bank State, they said that. So, so it's just like, okay, wow, we can't get those kids over here. They don't even want no games over there. You can't even watch the games over there. People don't, like the neighborhood communities is crazy because now you come over to games, well, we're going to put chairs and cones right here so you can't even park over here. So now you could never try to build something at TJ because now you got to play the games at Virginia Union. Right. So, no, I don't know what the solution is. I mean, we just need, I'm just glad that, we starting to have the competitive, like, especially y'all district. I want to see y'all district, not district, but y'all conference.
Yeah.
The Old Dominion district.
There you go.
Probably the most competitive when you think about it. Cosby ain't what I don't know what Cosby is.
We don't know.
We don't know either. Again, like I said, that's why we don't have nobody really pay attention to the rankings because again, at the end of the
Well, we got certain people doing rankings, but they got to go. I mean, I don't know if they go into the school or whatever, but I mean, just, I don't know.
Those rankings need a lot of help.
That time to stats, right?
well, they put theirs out yet?
Nah,
No, they ain't put theirs out yet.
it's too early.
See, I don't even do that much because Armstrong went 10-0. Well, no, they didn't. They lost to TJ, but they didn't make it till the end of the year. And I thought Armstrong, with the kid they had that's going to Hampton, that kid was one of the best backs in the area. Period.
First or the second round?
Nah,
Who they lost to? Kettle Run?
That was TJ.
TJ
lost to Kettle Runs.
And that game was cold as oh my god.
TJ, I like them getting the running back from Highland Springs. I like what's going on. What's going on?
Duran.
Then they got some,
man.
yeah, shout out to Bird. They got some DNs. I think they got the kid from Godwin, Mario Turner's kid.
And then they got the kid I interviewed, RJ something. He just got 2 offers, one from Norfolk State and one to Syracuse.
Hell, the kid from Monacan.
Oh yeah.
We got the kid from Monacan.
TJ, they doing some things, man.
They're my pick for 2, and I will say that on camera. They are my pick for 2.
2?
Yeah.
Who's your pick for 3?
Hold on, what he say?
Lafayette.
He's a pick for 2.
Lafayette.
Who's your pick for 4?
Varina.
Rana?
I like that.
So you think they're gonna be Phoebus too?
Yes.
He was
Oh, excuse me.
I thought they had. It was tight last year. It was real tight last year.
Caleb got hurt,
and that kind of
Brakes fell off, but all the kids they brought in, yeah.
I expected.
I think Phoebus' experience
to be right. Yeah.
Phoebus special, man.
Phoebus is a team, and Blunt. If they get a lead, I don't care if it's 1-0. That's what they want.
The Warwick game last year shocked the world because everybody.
They gave you the blueprint.
Yeah, everybody, even I sent it to you when Warwick was up, and I was like, "Is Phoebus about to lose?" And then within 3 minutes, they were up 2 touchdowns.
They don't fold, man. That's when you think you're gonna get Phoebus, they don't fold, man. That's why they're 11-1 in state championship game. You gotta give it to them, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to Phoebus. Yeah, they don't lose. They win when it counts.
What's the tally now? I mean, it was counting the days since they lost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, they do that. Yeah,
I seen on Sports.
We can say that name. We can say that name here. But we ain't gonna make it to him. Go ahead.
No, but that's impressive though, because again, it goes to the testament of because again, you still get a different group of kids that you gotta buy in and go through that situation, and then you can't always say, "Oh, this kid's got experience at it," because that kid he might have been in the program somewhat, but not necessarily with those guys, playing throughout the season, because again, it could have been a JV kid or somebody else that moved. So it's a lot that goes into that, and then they're getting those kids ready each year to compete and play in the state championship. So they're going to be hard to beat. I don't care.
Yeah.
They're gonna be hard.
By the time Varina and Phoebus meet, it's gonna be a different Phoebus that you're gonna see from week 1.
Yeah,
I will be.
Well, let's just say if they meet, it depends because we never know what Huguenot might do. So I want to get a phone call.
That's true. I didn't even think about
Right.
Scott might say, "Hey, man, what you talking about?"
We definitely. I apologize, Coach Scott.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
We gotta see you week 10. I apologize.
It's about to play on their board and line.
Then with it,
Video. It's gonna be a hype video already.
then with it could be like, "Hey, y'all forget about us."
Hey, look, Tyson's visual. I was going to say Phoebus and Varina. Manchester said Phoebus and Varina.
With the number 1 back in the country.
Oh, Louisa won 4.
Yes. With the number 1 back in the country.
4 tough, man.
That was a gauntlet. Honestly, we did talk about those only 2 teams, but at the beginning, he started thinking about 4 in general.
Yeah, 4 is tough.
It's a lot. It's a lot of good teams.
That's gonna be good watching the playoffs. All right, who you got in 5?
Stonebridge or Green Run.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. Yeah. Yeah. When we talked about it earlier, he was like, I said Stonebridge, and I'm hearing things about Green Run too, man. I think it's their time.
It's their time.
And as much as I jump on them, I'm like, yo, y'all got to close at some point.
You remember that live that we were doing where that dude went the hell off on you? Because you said Green Run was going to lose to Maury, and he was like, "Oh yeah, blah, blah," and we had to sit there for 30 minutes with him going on a tirade.
So why do you think Maury's going to repeat?
I don't know. Lost a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Not 10 deep. Newkirk, best quarterback in the state last year. Stand up, going to UNC. I hope he starts because that'll be cool. But Green Run's got the speed. They got. Yeah. And like, if they can't finish it off now, it's just.
Yeah, if they don't, I'm going to go ahead and just say it. I'm giving some bulletin board too. If they don't close it this year, then I don't know when they're ever going to close.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's pressure.
I mean, they've been right there. Normally, you would hear about them getting some quarterback or something like that. It's like
they thought they were getting
the kid
Kevin
from
Parker.
Denver, yeah, but they didn't. So it's like, you know, here we are, and then I'm hearing Nesmond River. I've been getting calls about Nesmond River.
Yeah, that's been like a sleeper because
Everybody likes them.
I was like National River.
Yeah, I've been getting them calls like, hey, man, we got offensive lineman galore. Of course, Ty Grant Jr. committed to Syracuse.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and Dad told me, he said, hey, you can put it out there. Hey, we're going to beat Oscar Smith this year. That's what he told me. Dad told me I can say it. So,
Slow down.
you know, I didn't call Dad. Dad called me. And he said, hey, last year I'd have been like, he said, no, this year. He said, Lee, come to the game. He said, we got him.
Well, we needed them to take a loss. Playoff purpose.
Smith's going to be good this year.
For playoff
Travis
purpose.
Johnson.
Yeah, they still
When
gonna
this
be
airs,
good.
he will be committed. My pick's Michigan. And then Lonnie, dog.
I like Michigan for
Tim,
me.
you said the defense. You know what? I'm not doing that. Never mind.
No.
No.
Say it.
Lonnie solid. What Lonnie? 27. Yeah, 27 kid.
Yeah.
Lonnie there. Shout out to my boy Chris Singh. He down there.
Yeah.
Dale State One Hornet. That's my guy.
Yeah, they go. I felt like that last year, I mean, that's just me personally.
Madison. They got lucky there.
Oscar Smith did. They got
And then everybody.
They did.
they got one. I mean, they were one loss away from being LeBron James. Okay, 4-6. Woo! They was couple whatever. They got it done. They closed. So, you know, Oscar Smith one of the best programs around here. We got to shout them out for that.
For sure.
Even though they called us clowns on the live, I ain't forget that. So trust me, I have not forgot.
Okay, so this question stirred in my mind all.
I haven't
for the
forgot.
past week.
You better close.
Who wins if it happens? Hayfield or Oscar Smith last year?
Hayfield. And yeah, I'm saying it again. They call me a clown again, Hayfield. Y'all, I mean, it is what it is. And the thing about it is, this is the problem that I got. They put clown faces on me, you, and Brendan.
They didn't do it. It was you, Brendan, and Harry Lee.
He said, "That won't me."
Hold on. Yes, it was you. Because Harry Lee, they left Harry Lee alone. It was me, you, and Brendan.
Oh, shit.
And they left Harry Lee alone. I got the picture in my phone. I ain't forgot about it.
Bulletin
That's my
board material.
I ain't forgot about it. And again, I don't know who runs their page because again, I don't have anything personal against them.
Coach.
But I can't blame who it was. I got a call who told me who they thought did it, but I don't have a. But I do not forget. So I trust me. I'm gonna get my get back.
Yeah.
Because I didn't say anything wrong, and if we can't be media people to say, hey.
Everybody got their pick.
Right. You know what I'm
Everybody got
saying?
their pick.
But let's just call it what it is. Okay, let me ask you who y'all thought. Who do y'all think? Hayfield or Oscar Smith? Let's go around. Let's do a round robin.
That was sick.
Hey, so I just think that Oscar Smith is a very talented team
For sure.
and I'm hoping that we have the opportunity to see them in the playoffs.
Okay, yeah, you can take the house because you might have to face them. I get it. Okay, yeah, he did it. Smart man.
I never saw Hayfield on tape.
Me either.
I never saw him.
Never saw him on tape.
Never saw him on tape.
And shout out to Coach Scott. I used to coach against him when I was in Salem High School.
They took the save from.
He's been a great coach.
That once this podcast aired, I'll get another clown face again in the 7 I'm sure what it is.
They're a good football program, man.
You can't. No, we know they're a great football program. We know that, but we can't say what we feel.
Right.
Y'all clearly won the game, but based upon what we saw from what we understand matchups makes fights. We get that. But based upon what Hayfield did to Madison,
Right.
and watch what they played against them.
Yeah.
Did they play Madison?
Did they? I don't know. Go look it up. Go Google that.
Who do you think had the harder schedule, Hayfield or Oscar Smith?
Oscar Smith.
Oscar Smith, probably. Yeah, I would say the one game.
Riverdale Baptist.
Yeah, Riverdale Baptist, but I would say Oscar Smith had the better schedule. But again,
They're playing Gonzaga this year. I'm excited for that.
but
Who was that? Hayfield? Or-
No, Oscar Smith.
Oh, yeah?
Week 1.
one thing about Oscar Smith, they're not afraid to play anybody. They've always done that, and again, we do that. Again, that's nothing wrong to say. We just know how their fans are. And it's not directed. And let me correct myself. It's not even the program. It's because the program and the coaches have done nothing to me. It's the fans.
Yeah.
So let me go back and retract what I said. Has nothing to do with the program. It's your fan base. This is who I'm directing it to, not the Oscar Smith program. Because y'all have done nothing to me, but gave me the utmost respect. It's your fan base who I'm directing this to. You know, they were Smith set. All of that stuff, right? I get it,
very.
But why can't we, when the questions is asked, we can give a opinion. But then they get mad and want to, use the name call. Which I told you, I can be real petty, but I ain't say nothing. But I'm gonna have my day. I'm gonna get them.
Okay, but I got a question for Coach Harrell. You've been in both areas. Who's better, 804 or 757?
Everybody asks that question. all the
What you talking about? Speaking of just
Football.
now or just
Football.
overall?
Overall.
Well.
Historically?
I'm about to say,
You saying historically? Okay.
Historically, it's the 757.
Yeah.
They got the
Go back to last year and say 757 because they got 3 state
Top 3.
championships.
6, 5, and 4.
I mean, you can't. I mean,
You can't deny
It's
that.
nothing to argue. It's the stats are there. Honestly,
Last year they had the better. They overall they were better.
Yeah.
We'll go to
The gap has closed.
yeah.
For sure.
The gap
yeah,
is
it's
closed.
not right away no more.
But
Yeah.
the way they try to portray it,
It's like it's dominance every single year.
no, it's not because
No, it's not.
prior to last year was the first time in a long time
yeah.
that 757 actually showed something like, okay, we're back.
Yeah.
Okay, but it took for Highland Springs to take a dive a little
Yeah.
bit. You guys went down a little bit. Okay, who else?
Varina.
Varina's always kind of been there.
Bird had his run up here.
Bird had his run
Early
again, but if you start from 2010 maybe up to 23, I would say that it's been the 804.
804. Yeah, for sure.
Been the 804.
I mean, is Stonebridge considered 757?
No.
They're
Boy, what school you went to?
Right, they DMV, man.
No.
They the DMV.
703.
No, where's Stonebridge? Like Fredericksburg, little past.
more than that.
No, that's
it's
out.
further north
Oh,
than that.
yeah, they DMV there.
They DMV.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but again, if you want to, okay, 757 based their stuff off championships. So based off championships,
I think it's a bigger gap for the 757 in basketball than it is football. And that's coming from me. Like, even like during the 2010 from like say to now, we've had state champions. Hopewell with the godforsaken, probably best running back I've ever watched play,
Okay.
Trey Henderson.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my God.
Hopewell is one.
You got Varina.
Varina has one.
Springs was dominant.
Springs was dominant.
And then you got Bedwell at Bird.
Bird had a run.
And then
Manchester.
And then
We got one.
Hermitage didn't close, even though they were
Hey,
there.
I'm gonna take those flowers. 2012 Goochland, one class 2. Take that.
Okay, no, we take that count.
And then,
But with 757, it's just been top heavy. It's always been a Hampton or a Phoebus
or Smith
or a
Ocean
Smith.
Lakes.
Well, Ocean Lakes had a little run,
Scott.
But again, with us, it's been more of a kind of across the board type of thing.
Yeah,
Now Maury has taken that next step.
Yeah,
Say, okay,
for sure.
hey, we're here, and now we're doing the dang thing. But like I said, 757 is always going to make the state football competitive because they're going to talk their trash.
Yep.
They can always show up, and they win. And when it counts, they win, and they have done that.
Yeah.
But I will say that we have closed the gap, and all we ask is to say, hey,
Give us our flowers.
Right. That's all we do. Right. We're going to always say that, but it ain't what it used to be back in the day when I was coming up. Yeah, they were
I
winning.
like the healthy rivalry. I mean, at some
Yeah,
point you
they were winning.
gotta keep the energy going. Like it becomes competitive, and
They gonna
even when-
always be
because even when I
competitive.
went to college, like that was a thing. You know what I mean? You had your 757 group, you had your 804 group.
But historically, it's the
Nova.
757.
Nobody's like,
Nova.
Yeah, historically,
Shout out to Nova,
757.
So it's always again, like I said, it's,
Nova.
I like the rivalry again because
I love it. I love it.
It fuels a lot. Again, like I say, you get passionate.
You get the delusion. You get the delusion.
Got a lot of delusions.
Yeah.
Got a lot of delusions, and we can call a few of that Hampton Roads group. You know, Ube Gabray, he won. Heath Jones, he's another one.
Stall them out, man.
Just a few people because this is what they do, and people like those individuals that I named. They like to instead of them talking about the teams, they want to go back. They still
Ronald
talk about,
Curry.
here we go. Every time.
Allen Iverson, Mike
Ronald
Vick,
Curry may
Marcus
be
Vick.
one of the best dudes I've seen play in my life.
Every time we talk about boxing, we gotta talk about
Sweepy.
Right. No, I'm saying no. So coming to America.
Oh,
And we
okay.
said
Muhammad Ali.
Rocky Marciano. Every time we talk about football, it gotta be
Ronald Curry.
He ain't walking through that door.
Right.
Not.
I ain't walking through that door.
Yeah.
Make another one. We still waiting.
So who do you think is the best player in the state of Virginia right now this year?
Ooh.
We saw the rankings from Sports Plus 757.
Yo.
But I want to know. Since you do your research, since y'all do your research,
I
will speak my 2 cents.
I will lean to more.
The running back at Louisa is different.
Oh yeah, no, he is. I actually kind of.
#1 player in the state.
And number 1 back in the country. Top 10 player in the country.
You think he's better than what Travion was?
Come on now.
And he coached them.
You said it out. You said that with your chest.
I think it's very close, but I'd give the edge to Trey.
Okay. Just asking.
And when we
Trey was top 10.
Yeah.
No, I think he was the number 1 back in the country. I think he was top 15, but I think Savion's ranked higher.
Gatorade player of the year. Nothing crazy.
But you know, but we would never get credit for that.
It's like,
I will go out and say the running back from Liberty Christian last year, I think, is better than what Savion is right now. That kid, I think a lot of people buy into these rankings, and I will stand on this 10 toes down. Do not pay attention to those things because I will go and say it goes Jeff Overton, Gideon Davidson, Savion Hyder, and then maybe Harry Dalton.
Let me tell you something.
Jeff Overton is probably, and I got exposed. You remember that? And I got exposed on live saying Jeff Overton was the best back.
Let me tell you something. I've been watching Coach Chap probably been doing this thing longer, man. But I'm gonna tell you something. I've been watching football for a long time, and when I saw Travion Henderson,
That kid's different. That kid was fast. I saw the state semifinals. Goochland played them. We were up 21-7. We did not, but
different, man.
we were up 21-7 at the end of half, and I don't know if they didn't play him the whole first half. He came in the first play of the second half, third quarter, 95 yards to the end zone, down the sideline. It was nothing. Oh, I was getting a hot dog. I remember watching that play happen.
Glick.
yeah, that kid, man, and then to see what he did at Ohio State,
Now he's at the Patriots,
but
and I'm drafting him in my fantasy football league this year.
There you go.
I tell you who reminded me of the 2 kids I saw were he and Percy Harvin were the 2.
that right
Yeah.
there. See,
That was dynamic.
That's where I said, listen, man, I'm sitting here.
Oh, Percy's a Virginia kid too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
757.
Yeah. And I was like,
Percy was different, man.
yeah, but then I will go. I would say Percy. Like I said, you got the kid Womack down there that played down there. What they were
Phoebus. He was
Yep.
at Phoebus. Yep.
What was that?
But then, like I said, then you go to for me in 1 year, I would say the best back that I've seen in 1 year.
Jeff Overton.
I can go Jeff Overton. From what my eyes saw, performance-wise, was Paul Robinson and L.C. Bird.
Okay.
Oh wow.
What he
Paul
did in the
Robinson.
playoffs.
Paul had a playoff
Paul
run.
had a- Paul-
that playoff run was crazy.
Well, let me just say the playoff run.
Yeah, that playoff run was crazy.
Let me just say the playoff run.
LP.
Who the fuck?
Right. Right.
How many yards did he run for the playoffs?
Yeah, he went off. He went crazy.
All right.
Can you help me?
You went in the
How the hell do we forget about what this game? First of all, wait a minute. We talk about next level, right?
Uh-huh.
How do he get missed for what the hell he did in the playoffs alone?
Nah, seriously.
Where'd he go?
Was it
He
Hampton?
went to Hampton.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Hampton? Like
Yeah.
FCS Hampton?
Yeah.
Down.
Chris?
Yeah, down.
Down in
You're bad with geography.
Down
You
in
know your
Oakland.
players, but geography.
He said, Stone really? I was trying to question. I'm glad y'all did it.
There's a reason I drive with GPS. Let's just say that.
Oh my
I
God.
told Goochland education system. Y'all on the clock. I'm just saying.
Got him.
What that kid did in the playoffs alone,
Yeah.
It was spectacular, man.
Yeah.
I dare
It was out of
any of
nowhere
y'all.
too, man. I don't think.
Tell me somebody from 757 who did that in the playoffs alone, outside of Percy Harvard.
I say, yeah, Percy won some games by himself.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But Paul don't get mentioned.
No, you don't.
You know, you're right.
I don't even know who that is.
You don't.
That kid
Exactly.
was
It's crazy.
he helped start that three-peat.
Yeah,
he
he
started
did.
that three-peat.
Yeah, you did.
And then you got,
He started that three-peat.
what's the dude
But-
that played for the Seahawks from Varina? The one that was a quarterback. Went to Penn State.
Who you talking about?
Michael
Mike
Robinson.
Robinson.
That's what his name
Mike
is.
Robinson. No, Mike Robinson was good. But
Yeah, I don't think Mike Robbins was better than Macho.
yeah,
And I, you know,
right. No, but we don't judge here.
Yeah.
We don't
That's-
judge here, but I'm just saying.
because one clearly did way better,
Right.
you know, with his situation.
But after seeing what Overton did to Highland Springs
Woo!
and seeing it live,
Oh, Lord.
I ain't witnessed that one.
I was watching you live when you were doing that and saw that kick.
live,
I was like, okay.
it was like
That Freedom team was ridiculous.
Like you painting like a Mona Lisa. Like it was like a movie watching that kid, and I was just like, Jesus. Like I was sitting there just like, hey man, he's my top 5 all time.
No,
it is no
for
order.
sure.
No order. Cause that what he did, and I was just like, hey,
And he's at Virginia Tech, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
gotta get
He's very talented, man. Just talented.
They're saying
That-
he might start as a true freshman.
He should. Well, it wouldn't surprise me if he
Yeah,
did.
it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me neither.
Why do you think the Virginia Tech and UVA is struggling with recruiting kids out of the area?
Can I say what I really want to say?
It's your podcast, man. It's your podcast.
Well, UVA, I mean, I like Tony Elliott. I just don't think he's that. I don't think he's the right fit. My old DC. Shout out to my coach Krupp. Hopefully he watches this. But what I would do, bring back Anthony Poindexter, homegrown Virginia kid, and I think honestly could recruit the state very, very well.
Don't get me wrong. I like UVA and I want them to win the battle against Tech, but I just
So yeah, I think UVA's academics is problematic for a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
Like I honestly,
That's the nice.
And the NIL stuff too. That just kills them.
yeah.
Yeah.
How did UVA don't have that money for the NIL?
No.
But you got to be able to get in
Not
there
like-
first. First, you got to get in there.
Yeah, it's hard to get in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the basketball roster. First thing you see is private school kids. I mean, I remember sitting there with Jason Williford at DeMatha, 2019 at the showcase at the Super Basketball Showcase in December, and we were sitting there watching Anthony Edwards. Now I had already seen Anthony Edwards the year before, and we were sitting there, and my son had taught him as a sophomore, and I said, man, this kid is different. Then we saw him when we went down there with Trinity. Matter of fact, I think we were down there with Trinity when Trinity played Montverde in basketball.
Oh.
That was 2018. 2019, we saw him at DC, and I remember Jason said, man, I offered him, but coach ain't gonna bring this kid in here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That was Tony Bennett, wasn't it?
yeah, it is just like one of those things. Is like, I just think certain type of kids that UVA just don't want. Let's just say that's what it is.
Yeah.
And culturally, I don't think they can connect with that kid that you need to take. Now, granted, yeah, they won the national championship, but you did have a kid like Mama D who was different basketball wise.
Kyle Guy.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying. But I'm okay. I'm really speaking. The inner city kid that they don't want to deal with. That inner city black kid that they don't really want to deal with, that because that institution is a academic higher standard, and like Coach said, it's going to be kind of hard to get in there. Where Tech will recruit that kid and bring those kids in there.
Yeah.
Brent Pry, I think, is more active in the state of
Yeah, but I'm not going to just get at the pride. I'm going to get that also to Beamer and all of those guys too.
It's always traditional.
That Beamer walked into George Whippen when he got Hank Coleman.
Sure.
Okay, he went into the Highland Spring over there to get Macho. Okay, that like now Welsh did try to get Ronald Curry. But Ronald
Went to
Curry
UNC.
opted to UNC to play basketball. That was more of a basketball thing. Had he went there for football, different story. We'd be talking about him in the league. Instead of as a coach, we'd be talking about him as a player.
You know,
that's my personal opinion.
You know, Allen Iverson was got offered to play quarterback at UVA.
You weren't even born.
No, like it's.
Hey, you know who was born? Chap.
Might have my first kid,
Allen Iverson, but AI, like again, like I said, those guys were different. You had AIs and
Georgetown
Ronald Curry.
basically told him he couldn't play football if he wanted to play basketball there.
Yeah, I mean, but again, I mean, he could have done those things, but again, those are the restrictions that back then when we were coming up in the 90s that like these kids today have way more opportunities to do more.
Definitely.
And they cry and complain more than the kids that when we was coming up, we didn't have those opportunities. Yeah. It was either this or that. Coach, you know how it was coming up in that time of period. You had to pick and choose. Now these kids get to have everything. It's like you got all the resources and everything there, and you still not happy with the results that you want.
They don't understand how good they have it because when I was in school, I had to sit down with Coach Hall on a VCR and make my tape.
Right.
And make my tape
like in the blind side.
Yeah, 2 VCRs. If Coach Hall didn't like something, he'd be like, You know, you didn't have opportunity. Now these kids can go on Huddle and build highlight tapes
and put it on Instagram quick. Right.
Tagging coaches.
15 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes tagging coaches the opportunities that we don't have.
Hours.
Yeah.
Hours.
And I coach looks at 1 minute. Either they know or they don't.
Yeah.
Mailing tapes.
Yeah,
these kids don't even know what mailing the tape is.
I bought 10 sent out.
The big vanilla folder. Yeah, man.
So that's what I'm saying. It's just like it's just different. So that to me, I think that's why we're gonna wrap it up in a second. But that's why UVA to me has lost because coming up in the 90s, it was always UVA. These Tech fans just came out of nowhere. So when they start, because if you really want to look at it, let's look at it. Let's take the history. Tech has been doing well, but if you really want to look at productive NFL guys,
Wally,
UVA got way more than what Tech got. I ain't talking about just getting there. I'm talking about going there and being a household name. Anybody want to challenge me? Because I'm think about it. Think about all the guys that UVA has put there in the league that has been productive. Now, I ain't talking about no guy who just, we got the guys in the NFL and then they just fade away about a year. Yeah. I'm talking about guys who actually did something. Think about it. Think about the UVA guys. Think about it. It's been a lot.
It's
been a lot.
Sharper and
Yeah.
Lee went, and then
The Jones boys, of the Barber kids.
Poindexter.
I mean, Sean Moore. I mean, not Sean Moore. Herman Moore, and
they had a tackle that went to the league too.
The Brickenshaw Ferguson.
Yeah, Brick. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, they let Damian Woody get away, but people don't talk about that great Patrick Henry team. But that's a whole nother story. But again, I'm just saying, I'm talking about production, and for some reason. I would say UVA probably rival Miami when it comes to name.
Hey, bro.
I'm just saying, I'm a Miami Hurricane through and through.
Miami had one team that had like 20 Hall of Famers.
Exactly. But UVA was getting those guys. But UVA was getting those guys that was just, that was going to the league and just being I think Eldon Brown, that was from down your way. I remember it vividly when his mama we was at the Virginia Tech game. That's when Brian Randall was the quarterback, and she was like, hey, well, I see y'all, you know where, you know who. And I remember him being a top 5 pick in the draft, and the next thing you know, he didn't go work out and he dropped. I remember it. And that was when that's when they had
Shit, Aaron Brooks played for UVA, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You think about it, the kid that was the number 1 from CD Hill, the linebacker.
I forget his name.
He was number 1 in the country. He would have went top 5 if he came out the draft. He went in a supplemental draft to Cincinnati. He was on those 2 teams that beat Varina back-to-back those years.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name.
Yeah, but he went to
He
the
returned
49ers.
kicks, played middle linebacker. Returned kicks.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
No, dead serious.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and like I said, so yeah, he was 99. It was like, yeah, because both times Varina was up like 28 to nothing or 28 to 7, and they came back and beat them 28-27.
Jesus.
Both years. I want to say that was 98, 99. So okay, what's that?
CD Hill.
I'm gonna look it up.
You was in college then.
What's that?
98, 99.
Yeah.
I'm about to say,
Yeah, because he was in supplemental draft. But
Yeah.
You was in college in 98, 99.
damn.
You graduated in
that was the
You
class
graduated
that-
before Juvenile dropped back that up? Dang.
You missed the time.
Yeah.
I'm about to
Missed the
say-
time.
Biggie dropped the Live or Die CD, double CD.
You said 98. I'm like, I'm still in high school. I ain't remember.
But yeah, man, that was Ahmad Brooks.
That's exactly right.
Ahmad
Brooks.
Brooks.
Yeah, how we forget that?
Yep.
He returned.
He was a running back.
And
He was a linebacker.
He played middle linebacker and he returned kicks.
talent.
Because Derek Johnson from Texas was the number 1 linebacker in the country in college, and because he went to Fort Union, Ahmad Brooks did. We were after the game was over. Me and my homeboy was sitting outside the Virginia Tech. The game was over, and his dad, rest in peace, Mr. Perry, and we was sitting out there. And he was just like, I want my son to go to the draft, but I know mature-wise he's not there yet. And we was like, wow, because his dad had played for the Redskins at the time, so he was just like, at the time, but
Can't
just
beat
at the
genetics
time,
anymore.
and he was like, I know that he will probably be top 15 if he comes out. He'll be behind Derek Johnson at the time. I think he ended up going to the Chiefs or whatever.
Yeah.
But then he said, my son got to come back to school, and he came back, and that really probably was the detriment to him. And then he ended up not getting picked.
People went to FUMA post grad.
Yeah, which was great, right? But he ended up getting picked in, so he didn't get drafted. And back then they had the supplemental draft where a team you get to pick whoever in that draft, and a lot of teams would not pick anybody. He got picked in the supplemental draft and got picked by the Bengals, started for the Bengals, then got his big contract or whatever with the 49ers and did well. So again, that's how great that kid was, and that's what we say about Ronald Curry. Ronald Curry got drafted off of what he did in high school.
Yeah.
By the Raiders coach, so just like wow. And I guess at the position, and he did wow for a little while with the Raiders playing receiver. But again, that's just to the greatness that we have here in Virginia back then, where UVA and Tech were getting the guys that were staying in state.
Yeah.
That's what we really need more of now.
But the problem is now too, like you said, it's more exposure for the kids. Like you said, we had to go back and buy the envelopes and send them out.
Yep.
Kids got more access to
They got access to stuff now.
send their stuff off to anybody. So now that coach can just click on, look at his phone and see the kid now. Where back in the day, you had to read a newspaper or show up and see that kid to even get them. So, it's easier access for the schools outside of the state to get to these kids.
Yeah.
And-
Coast to coast recruiting now. That never was a thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of part of the issue too, as well, because now you have these names outside of UVA and Virginia Tech that everybody knows.
Everybody goes. Yep. But I know we didn't get into talking about Coach Vic at
Norfolk State.
Norfolk State and stuff like that. And we gotta wrap it up. Any things that y'all want to just wrap?
Final question. Who's y'all's out of district opponent this year?
Glen Allen.
And Allen. Shout out to my boy Omar Kizzy and those guys, Coach Sexton and them guys, man.
They be ready.
Yeah.
They be ready.
I like the youth movement over there.
Number 757 guy.
Yeah. I like the youth moving over there, man, for sure.
Portsmouth?
Coach Mario over there got the JV boys. They rolling, man. I like what they doing over there. So
Yeah,
shout
they
out
try
to
to
them.
build something over there. Definitely.
It's gonna be a tough schedule for us and shit, man. We're just gonna try to every week at 1 week at a time.
Well, I can't wait. I mean, if there's no big games that week, I definitely be in Demonic in Manchester. I can make the press. I gotta look at my schedule.
Week one
but-
for me is Glen Allen versus PG.
But I will. Yeah, you say you won't be there. But
And we got them week 2? Yeah, we got Glen Allen week 2.
so
Coach Hall softened them up a little bit.
but that week 2 gonna be that Varina Maury game. I don't know if it falls on the same day.
Them first 3
Yeah, I
weeks
can
is
tell
gonna
you.
be-
Yeah, I'm always in the East End the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I'm at, but because normally I'm always going to y'all the Hannah Springs game, but that's no more now. So you kind of move from that. But
Springs got some.
All right, week 1, I've got PG versus Glen Allen. Week 2, 9-5 Varina versus Maury.
yeah.
That's gonna be a tough win. That's gonna be a tough game for them.
Yeah,
Both teams. That's gonna be
yeah,
real
that's
good
gonna be
for both
that's
teams.
gonna we're gonna see a lot. through
That game's gonna sell out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
definitely.
For sure, man.
Where's it at?
Varina.
Is that Verona? Yeah.
Every round. That's Friday night too.
Yeah, yeah,
That's gonna be playing, bro.
Hey man.
Thought it was gonna be.
But no, we gonna get y'all out of here, man. Y'all got any expectations and things for yourself? We gonna or y'all just say, hey, we'll just see.
Well, yeah, I don't really like. I mean, you have standards and expectations that you set, like among us. Like we always have that. This is where we need to be, and this is what we're trying to achieve. And yeah, for the most part, we do facilitate a lot of it to the kids, but at the end of the day, we always push for the kids just to compete, and everything will kind of sort itself out. So if again, we have a good team. So again, I will say that. I'm not going to say no.
The quarterback's still there,
Yeah,
right?
quarterback's still there.
Mr. Abernathy's still there, right?
sir.
Then you always got to check.
Speaking of him, are his offers like legit?
Yeah, what?
What?
I didn't know. Some of them might be non-committable. I was wondering.
Right,
But I
right.
think he's legit.
Where do you think he coach at?
I'm telling y'all, I mean, I love this kid, but he have his moments, but he's honest in his questions.
Dead
He
serious.
serious.
No, that's a good honest
I'm
question.
honest in my answer.
Like as a adult,
Good honest question.
like when you get our age and when you have kids and when they say something crazy, you be like you're honest in what you're saying.
I
But
didn't know. Like some people get offers and they're not.
That's true.
you're not lying.
Right.
I'm sure because I honestly think
But no,
he's a quarterback.
the kid's he's gonna have a great season. Like I'm rooting for him this year. He's gonna be. I mean, honestly, like everything that he's built up to this moment is gonna be awesome for him. Like
I think
I see a good season for him this year.
Yeah,
Honestly,
he's been trending up every year, so we'll expect it.
Him and Scott Jr. battling for QB1 in the Dominion District.
I never
I wasn't looking like that either.
No, I keep saying it's put the years next to it, but you're right. Yeah.
So this game this year, Huguenot is where?
Is that Huguenot?
You're not, man.
Last game of the season.
No,
Oh, the last game.
Oh yeah.
Last game of the season.
Oh, it's game of the week for sure.
I'll be there
You
because
need to get
Varina
some-
Highland Springs is gonna be somewhere on a Saturday, so I already know that. So
Really not. This year they playing on. No, they playing on Thursday this year.
Oh yeah. Get all that out the way.
Varina and Highland Springs they playing.
Oh,
on
I'll
Thursday.
be there.
Get all that out the way.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be
The
there.
day before Halloween.
everybody's gonna be there. I'm going there.
Oh, it's gonna be packed, man. It's gonna be a great environment, man. It's gonna be live, man. I think both teams are gonna have successful weeks leading up to that. It's gonna make it a game of the week type of
Yeah,
situation.
our gauntlet's going to be later in the season. We
And
got
it's a-
Powhatan, Bird, Huguenot, and somebody else in there.
Palatine got a new coach. Mike Henderson stepped down.
I-
Signs off to Penn State.
Always.
That's a good game.
Always
Don't
going to be
head into the
competitive.
playoffs too, though. That's
Yeah.
a
That's gonna be a great-
tough
I'm super
week 10
excited.
matchup to kind of see where you are as a team heading into the playoffs. Try to make that run, man. So
I definitely.
I think both teams will benefit from it.
Well, I can't wait because I'll definitely be there. I ain't gonna drive that far neither.
Nah,
I drive about 5 minutes. I'll be good. 5 to 7 minutes. I'll be good. But yeah, guys, we're gonna wrap this up, man. I appreciate you guys coming by and doing this. This was fun, man.
Yeah,
I tell you, man, people, I get, some pushback sometimes, but I do get a lot more praise for having the coaching staffs on here because we get to learn a lot about the staff that helps the head coach, make the engine run. Because a lot of times the way I look at it is, and I don't want this to happen for you, coach, but if people get to see how well these guys talk and how they interact and stuff like this, Coach Chap, everybody know him, but just the fact that you never know what another team or school might be looking for the next head coach. Yep. So I always try to make a platform for these people to say, hey, you know what? hey, I like that guy that was on here. Let me kind of go back and kind of contact them. You know, that's what I looked at it to be. Not saying that has happened, but that's just, you know, what I want for the coaches and stuff like that. And I need to get to know you guys. So, and I just want to commend you guys. When I came to the Phoebus scrimmage, you guys really made me feel at home. You guys, I was just out there just didn't even really know what I was doing. But you guys showed me so much love during the game, because I was started off on the Phoebus side and then came on y'all side, and after the game was over there, and was just showing so much love. And I just was always looking forward to doing this, even though we didn't get to do it in Manchester because of your renovations and everything like that. But I appreciate you guys really doing that, because it really told me a lot about you guys post Tom Hall.
Yeah.
And just let me know what type of program that you guys, you know, were. So I was just like, you know what? No, I'm going to spend a lot of games over here. So I appreciate you guys embracing me and coming on to the show.
No
problem. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So on that note, we're going to roll up out of here.
Yep.
Chase, I thank you again, always making the show.
One time,
Coach Mills.
one time for that boy Chase, man.
Right?
Yeah, they told me deals.
He's out west.
I thought it was somewhere about Kettle Run. I don't know. It's about Oscar Smith. That's where it is. And on that note, man, we are out of here. Peace. I appreciate y'all watching the episode again today, y'all. You know, go over and make sure that y'all check out my man, rickstockel.com for any of your home buying needs. Appreciate it. Thanks again.